Hey there, listeners. Welcome to Socially Inclined, where we believe marketing should be simple, effective, and most importantly, affordable. In this episode, we'll be sharing expert tips and strategies to help you increase your visibility, engage more of your audience, and reach more clients than ever before. So if you're ready to take your online presence to the next level, keep listening because you're about to get socially inclined. Hey there, everybody. Welcome to the podcast. Jess here again from Socially Inclined. And today I really want to take a step back with this one and simplify some things for our new listeners, for business owners who are just getting started, business owners who maybe are super overwhelmed by marketing strategy. You know, there is no shortage of opinions, we'll call them, out there, and there's no shortage of noise surrounding social media marketing, what works, what isn't, shiny object syndrome, etc. So today I really wanted to come to this studio for you guys and debunk all of that stressful complicatedness and break down successful social media marketing strategy in a 4-step simple process. And we find that this 4-step strategy, if you will, can work for any business who wants to implement it, any solopreneur who wants to implement it, and it never fails to get our small business owners closer to the goals that they have, and sometimes simple, it just delivers jaw-dropping results, right? Simple scales, fancy fails. I love that. I heard that somewhere recently, and it certainly plays into what we here at Socially Inclined have been doing for the last 4 or 5 years in terms of the products and the trainings that we put out on Get Socially Inclined, our messaging that we put out on social media, and in just the way that we serve our clients here is all centered around the idea of simplified social media marketing. So, in the spirit of that, I have a 4-step simple social media marketing strategy that will get you the result you want every single time. So without further ado, let's start out with number 1. First, to get anywhere, you have to know where and why you're going somewhere. So the first step is to determine the problem that you're trying to solve. And I think this right here, the very first step, is where a lot of small business owners go awry. Because again, as I mentioned, there's so much noise out there. There's so much bad information. There are so many quote unquote experts that it can be really confusing about who to listen to and what to believe. But I really love the idea of simple is best. And if it's simple and you know what you're doing, you're going to implement it. So keep in mind that as a business owner, whether you sell products or services, you are not just selling a product or service. In fact, if you're coming at it from that perspective and you're struggling to see results that you want, that's probably a big portion of the problem. You're not just selling a product or a service. You are the hero solving someone's problem. And it's that kind of story that your audience wants to hear. So for instance, when I put out posts, or when Socially Inclined, maybe Julie puts out posts, or somebody, a VA that we've hired is working on content. When we talk about the features of Socially Sweet, like, oh, we include 3 posts a day and there's one in your niche, and we're going to queue them all up for you in your own private suite inside our Socially Sweet program. So all you have to do is click and schedule. Those are never as effective as when we come at it from, hey, you're busy, we get it. We're going to save you so much time while helping you grow your business on social media. And whoever told you it has to be complicated, They're wrong because we've made it really simple, and you can start your success story here, sociallysweet.com. You will stress less, you will save more, and you will grow your business effortlessly. So if you can kind of just, maybe you want to rewind it for a second, and you can feel the difference between posts or language that's trying to sell a product versus language that's selling what the audience needs. So step 1, solving problems. What problem are you trying to solve? And we do struggle with this here at Socially Inclined because we have so many different marketing courses. We have marketing training memberships. We have content memberships. We have thousands of content bundles in the GetSociallyInclined.com store. So we have struggled with this in the past, like, okay, well, which problem are we going to address today? Which ideal client are we going to try to reach today? You have to clear the chaos, clear all of that, and just do one at a time. To do two things at once is to do neither well. And take it from me, we have learned it the hard way. So going at it one problem at a time, one ideal client at a time, and addressing that specific person's problem with each piece of content you put out is way better than trying to incorporate multiple problems or multiple customer avatars into a single piece of content. So that last little bit, I was speaking to those of you who are like Julie and myself, multi-passionate entrepreneurs. Maybe you found yourself with 3 or 4 different brands because you just kept creating. That's a very common theme in the solopreneur, the entrepreneur space. But you want to make sure that you're solving one problem at a time, and each problem needs these 4 steps applied. So make sure that you keep that in mind too. This 4-step process, you'll need to walk through those 4 steps for each different customer and each different problem that you're trying to solve. So first and foremost, what problem are you trying to solve? Let's be the hero and show people how you're going to solve them and what it looks like on the other end. Step 2, create a content calendar. And in the same vein, you're going to want to schedule that content, right? So planning may not sound like a party. It does not sound like fun. But trust me, it is the music DJ that keeps that marketing dance floor rocking. So you've got to plan your content. You've got to schedule that content. Imagine whipping up a content calendar that is just awesome, and you're setting a specific date for each of the pieces of content, and it's kind of like a date with your audience, right? They will know what to expect because you're being consistent, and that is really, really key. Consistency is the name of the game, and a calendar is your VIP pass to this engagement that you're trying to get. So make sure that you have a content calendar and you have a plan in place, because I think it's a very common theme also with small business owners that we always tend to underestimate the bandwidth that it's going to take in the moment. We're always like, oh yeah, okay, I'll just post it. I'll set a timer on my phone. But what if you're in the middle of a Facebook marketing call when that timer goes off? So I love to schedule. It's the reason that your social plan Pro morphed into Socially Sweet, because scheduling is so important for helping us stay consistent with our social media content for the long term. So create that content calendar. And once you do step 3, make sure that you schedule content around that content calendar. And I didn't mention that a content calendar will also help you capitalize on holidays and on seasonal themes. When I say the word holiday, a lot of people immediately go to Black Friday and Christmas and things like that. But there are no shortage of holidays every single month. As someone who's overseen the creation of your social plan content, which is, for those of you who don't know, it's 3 daily posts, copy-paste posts built around what is happening in the month to help you look like you are totally on top of your game. But we build those around national days and holidays. And some people think that, oh, well, I don't need those. Those aren't relevant. But the reality is people love to answer a "what's your favorite chocolate" post on social media way before they like to answer "what's your biggest struggle with mental health?" We recently had a client come in. She's a therapist and has a mental health practice. So, we were explaining to her, the reason you're not getting any engagement, and the reason you can't seem to reach more people is because right now you only have people who are currently openly interested in help with mental health and growing around that topic. But by adding some of these seemingly silly questions, what's your favorite hot dog topping? How do you like to eat watermelon? What is the nicest thing that someone has ever done for you? Things like that can really help open the door, can really help the algorithms see, okay, people are liking what she's doing, or he is doing, people are enjoying that content, they're even commenting on that content. So then when you turn around and you post another post around mental health or your niche, it's distributed more widely. So it's going to get more engagement than those silly engaging question posts. So create that content calendar and build in some monthly themes there. Even if it's August, you should be asking some questions around the start of school, or the start of it's August right now, so NFL preseason just started, so you can ask some questions around football. Things that are very unassuming and non-polarizing are always a great way to go, and things that should be built into your content calendar. Okay. Step 1 was we're going to decide what problem we're solving. Step 2, we're going to create that content. But step 3 is probably the most important. Content. Are you going to create it, or are you going to go shopping for it? And those are really your 2 choices. And that's a big decision. This is probably the biggest decision that you're going to make. So are you going to whip up this content on your own? Or are you going to buy it? Are you going to source it? Are you either going to buy pre-made content like we offer here at Socially Inclined, or are you going to spend the big bucks to have a social media agency create it for you one-off? And I'll tell you, in terms of money spent, that's a cost, right? It's going to cost you either money or time, depending on what you're doing. Doing it yourself will cost you the least amount of money, but the most amount of time. Buying pre-made content will cost you no time and a little bit of money. That tends to be more cost effective than the other option, which is to have it completely outsourced by a professional social media agency. I am a huge fan, obviously. We have built a burgeoning business around this need of content bundles that have been created for a specific niche, that you have the control to go in and change the colors and add your logo and your branding and your fonts and things like that. Creating content from scratch, if you think you want to go that route, I just want to encourage you to think, like, do you have the knowledge and the know-how to do this? Is it going to be something that takes you 10 hours to do a week? And if so, is that worth your time, or is it something that you want to spend a little money on? Creating content from scratch is like tailoring a suit. It's a perfect fit for your brand and personality, but if you don't know how to do it, your suit might be a little wonky, and the first one might be a little rough. So just make sure that you take that into account. Buying content, sometimes it's, in my opinion, we always buy our content. We create We have created so much content as Access Web Technologies morphed into Socially Inclined. We had so much content and so much expertise around creating content that most of the time now we don't even have to go back to the table for our own content. So buying content will really alleviate that time suck and also the stress of wondering if you have the expertise to do it, because it's not easy. I started creating content 7 years ago, and the content I created 7 years ago was in miles away from the way the content I create these days go. So it's just like anything that you do. You have to kind of become an expert in it to do it quickly and to do it well. So decide if you're going to create that content or if you're going to buy it. Once you source your content, again, make sure you circle back to number 2 and put that content in a scheduler like Socially Suite. That's Socially Suite, SUITE.com. For those of you who don't know, you can get access to that program for just $99 a month, and we'll load it up with 3 posts a day. One of them will be centered around your niche, but you get access to all of this content. Like I alluded to a little earlier, we have been creating content for years and years and years, so we have a lot of content that we can put at your fingertips if you're interested in that route. All right, fourth step is one that I think we have a little bit of a hard time admitting when something's off, right? But the 4th step is going to be prepared to adjust. Roll with the punches. Stay agile, if you will. Flexibility is really your secret weapon when it comes to your marketing strategy. Maybe you think you've got the moves, but then, the song changes and the beat changes, and all of a sudden you're having to change things up. What I mean by that is, let's say you're a health and fitness coach and you think, okay, my ideal client is a late 20s, early 30s, something professional who maybe she used to be able to stay real fit, but now she's balancing a career, maybe an early family, and she needs XYZ to feel loved on social media, to see me as an expert in social media. So you start putting that content out there, but then you realize that that's not working. And maybe what she really needed was more content around how to build balance, or content around quick and portable meals, or, content around PCOS. Maybe that's something that your ideal client is struggling with, and she needs help healing that to move forward with her fitness regimen. So that's what I mean by staying agile. That's a very specific example. If you're in a different industry, maybe you're a financial expert or a lawyer, the same applies. You're going to you're going to see what that problem is, and maybe that problem changes a little. So staying agile means that you're always ready to adjust that content strategy, because that's, making adjustments is part of how you get over the humps, part of how you just blow through those setbacks or that post that fell flat. Adjusting it, trying again. There's no shortage of having to do that to reach more people and to get a social media strategy that actually works. So there you have it, my dazzling 4-step marketing strategy. Very, very simple. I'll go back and read the 4 steps. It's simple. Step 1, determine what problem you're solving. Step 2, create a content calendar and schedule your content once you source it. Step 3, create that content or buy that content. If you need content, please go check out our store. It is wonderful content, and it's well priced, especially for the hours and hours and hours we're going to save you. That store's at getsociallyinclined.com. Step 4, adjust. Be prepared to adjust and stay agile to what the needs truly are of your ideal client, because that will morph as you kind of start serving them on social media. So it's like throwing a party where everyone's talking about how amazing it was. So make sure that you get your content out there. So that is my 4 steps on a good social media marketing strategy, a simple, straightforward one that is going to get you the results that you're after. Make sure that you repeat those steps for each different problem you're trying to solve. Otherwise, it's going to all seem really disjointed and disconnected. I know that from personal experience. And finally, if you haven't yet, please subscribe to this podcast wherever you're listening, whether it's on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Make sure that you subscribe. And if you have any questions or feedback from today's episode, send me a message, podcast@sociallyinclined.com. And I look forward to having you on the next episode.